Hey everybody and welcome back to Hard Ticket. I am Jeffrey Bogus.
Ooh, and I'm Tristan Moore.
And it is the...
I'm a ghost! Don't interrupt me!
And it is the... You're done? Are you done?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
And it's the kickoff of our October horror movie Halloween matchup spectacular. We've got 5 horror movie matchups planned this month.
Yeah. On account of there being, I guess, 5 weeks this month.
Yeah, 5 Fridays anyway, which is our release day.
No, dude, there's 5 whole weeks.
5
They stretched it out this year.
Yeah, and we are covering a lot of movies. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our first matchup. We're going to ease into the horror genre by covering 2 kind of pseudo horror movies this week.
Yeah, we're doing something a little more comedic this week, like you're saying, to kind of ease us in. So option number A is a 2010 horror comedy called Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Directed, written by Eli Craig. He hasn't really done much else.
He did a Clown in a Cornfield.
Clown in a Cornfield, which came out, I think, this year, right?
Yeah. People were, or is that The Woman in the Yard?
There's someone,
blank in
there's
the
someone
place.
somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
It stars Alan Tudyk and Tyler Labine.
Alan Tudyk as a hillbilly with the nicest set of teeth you will ever see. They're like just glowing white the whole time.
Oh yeah, Alan Tudyk, always a charmer. You'll know him from, he's done a lot of motion capture in recent years.
Yeah.
He was K2SO in Rogue One. He was a robot in Superman.
He voiced the chicken in Moana.
Hey,
And he went to Juilliard.
Oh my God, yeah. He's also Wash from Firefly and Serenity.
Yeah.
So
that's where you would actually recognize his face.
that's where you would know his face, yeah. There's Katrina Bowden as the love interest, because this is almost like a rom-com horror movie.
Right, it's more rom-com than horror, probably. But it's thoroughly parody.
Yeah, it's definitely a parody. And then you also have Jesse, I can't remember his last name now, Jesse Moss as Chad, the villain of the movie, possibly the most villainous person of both movies.
Yeah, this movie did for Chad's what Bottoms did for Jeff's just a couple of years ago, unfortunately.
Not good things.
No, not good things. What happens?
Oh yeah, in this movie it's Tucker and Dale and they're versus evil. It's these 2 guys in West Virginia, not West Virginia, it's actually Canada, but that's fine.
Right.
This is sort of I'm getting deja vu because we did our Wrong Turn and we did our Deliverance episodes, and I'm getting a lot of like parallels with this movie.
It's really interesting to talk about Tucker and Dale as a response to Wrong Turn. I mean, one of the first shots in the movie that establishes where it takes place is like a pine barren.
Oh yeah.
With West Virginia as the subtitle, and all it's missing is like a "Welcome to Canada" sign.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's sort of a meta joke. I mean, that's how I interpret it anyway.
It could definitely be interpreted that way. It's just these 2 guys who were hanging out in the woods. They're fixing up Dale's vacation home. I can't remember, Tucker or Dale.
It's Tucker's.
It's Tucker's vacation home.
Yeah.
They're fixing it up. It's a fixer-upper. And they encounter a group of teenage college kids in the woods, and they're all
they start killing themselves on their property.
All these college kids keep killing themselves. Yeah, they basically try to kill Tucker and Dale because they think that they're like hillbilly villains, hillbillins.
Right, there's that term again.
Yeah, and they end up basically just killing themselves because they're so clumsy. And that's the plot of the movie. One of them ends up falling in love with Dale, played by Tyler Labine, and they strike up a little romance, and they're sort of the emotional heart of the movie.
Yeah, definitely. So that's option number A.
Yeah.
And we're talking about it in conversation with Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Option number B.
Classic.
This is it's technically a 2011 movie because it played at Butt Numathon Festival.
Austin, yeah.
Yeah, but then it had a wide release in 2012. Directed by Drew Goddard of Bad Times at the El Royale fame, probably best known for the Daredevil TV show, the original one on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Like 2015, I think. But also a writer on like Cloverfield, The Martian, pretty prolific writer.
Yeah. This is his directorial debut, right?
I believe it is, yeah. But you'd be forgiven in mistaking it for a Joss Whedon movie.
Right.
Because Joss Whedon co-writes with Goddard and also produces. So his name was all over it. And it's, 1 year before the Avengers. So, like, this is probably around as big as Joss Whedon got.
Yeah.
Before all the Whedon backlash. Anyway, Cabin in the Woods is about, again, a group of college kids who go to the woods for a weekend of relaxation. Because Kurt, played by Chris Hemsworth, is like, he inherits a cabin from his cousin.
It's his cousin's cabin, and they just go to hang out there. He's just letting him hang out there for the weekend.
Yeah. Chris Hemsworth's probably the most recognizable person you'll see here. Richard Jenkins is here, though, along with Bradley Whitford. And then at the end, spoilers, Sigourney Weaver shows up, the original final girl.
Yes.
But it's about these kids who go to a cabin in the woods, titular cabin, and accidentally summon a zombie redneck torture family, except they don't really accidentally summon it because the whole point of Cabin in the Woods is that there's actually this, they're like a government organization that is manipulating events so that these kids fall into the same horror tropes that we have seen recycled over and over and over again.
Yes.
Because it turns out the gods of the old world want it just like that.
Yeah, the Lovecraftian gods who ruled over humanity for time immemorial.
Right.
Who have been placated by, I guess, an annual ritual to...
yeah, and every country participates, I guess.
Yeah, every country has their own version of the ritual, and only one has to succeed. But it gets down to the point where United States and Japan are... they're teeing off against each other.
It's like the Olympics.
It's like the Olympics, and then Japan fails, which is like their first time they've ever failed. And so it comes down to the United States, like it always does.
But you're rooting for these kids the whole time.
Yeah.
And you don't really understand what's at stake until towards the end.
Yeah.
Because the whole kind of argument about Cabin in the Woods is like, are humans more important than humanity? Think about it. So, why this matchup, you might be asking? Yeah, I might be asking that. Why would we put these two movies up against each other? Tristan, what comes to mind when you think of these two in context with one another?
Well, I think it was you who proposed the matchup, and my first thought is obviously, well, they're horror comedies, so that makes sense.
Subversive horror comedies,
yeah. Well, that was the second thought, was the subversiveness. They take like these horror tropes, and then they kind of turn them on their heads. They make fun of them, but they also kind of are championing them a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say, like, with Cabin in the Woods, it is like two movies kind of stitched together. It's like a traditional kind of slasher horror film.
Right.
Stitched with this kind of like high concept sci-fi premise.
Right.
And so it kind of has its cake and eats it too, because it's like commenting on all that.
High concept might be a stretch.
It's a concept. We'll call it a concept. It's definitely a conceptual leap for your average like slasher film.
Right.
Whereas Tucker and Dale is, I'm not going to say it's more straightforward, but it is, well, maybe it is. It's just a little more streamlined. I mean, it's just these two guys in the woods trying to fight off, basically trying to survive against these college kids trying to kill them. So
Tucker and Dale kind of shows you its hand from the beginning.
Yeah, it's a very clear role reversal.
Yeah, there's maybe two scenes that occur before you get the sense that the college kids aren't your real protagonists. It's our hillbillies, not hillbillies this time around.
Hillbilly heroes. These guys.
And so it is a lot more of, I guess you could say, a direct parody, whereas Cabin in the Woods is a lot more of a, it's like a commentary sort of on horror and tropes in general. Tucker and Dale sets out to parody one kind of specific thing. And hillbilly horror isn't like it's in the lexicon of horror genres, sure, but it's not like the most pertinent kind of, not every horror director has to get their hands on a hillbilly horror concept at some point.
It definitely feels like Eli Craig is looking at the pantheon of subgenres in horror, and he's thinking, okay, which subgenre can I chalk up to a simple misunderstanding?
Yeah.
And he's like, let's explore that. And obviously, like, we talked about in our Wrong Turn Deliverance episode how there are all these stereotypes about people in Appalachia being kind of backwards and even being monstrous to a certain extent. And this is a movie that's just about like kind of bridging that gap and basically being like, it's all a matter of communication. It's all a matter of misunderstanding. You don't have to freak out when you see, a hillbilly on the side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely feels like, one of the only movies to really kind of, I guess, show a mirror back at the people who are, just kind of going for that genre, like full service, straightforward, all that kind of stuff. So it's almost overdue. I do like thinking of it in conversation with Wrong Turn, and especially now that I've actually seen Wrong Turn for this podcast, I get more out of Tucker and Dale, and I've seen Tucker and Dale a lot. I have rewatched Tucker and Dale quite a few times.
Yeah.
Versus Cabin in the Woods, that I watched it a while ago and had really fond memories of it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, in my mind, pairing these two movies up against each other kind of felt like two titans of the subversive horror genre.
Yeah. I think, Cabin in the Woods is obviously bigger. It had way bigger budget. It had a wide release. A lot more
bigger names.
A lot more people have seen it. Bigger names attached. And Tucker and the Dale is almost like a true kind of cult film. I don't really meet a lot of people who've seen it, or let alone, or heard it or anything. But your history with this, so you've seen it multiple times. Like, why? Like, where does that come from?
Well, it definitely comes from my, the way that I care about Appalachian stereotypes. Mm-hmm. I think, like I said, Tucker and Dale is really one of the only films that I've seen kind of have the conversation that's like, maybe we need to take a step back and look at how this stigma got established.
Yeah.
And, the only other film I've seen kind of have that direct conversation is like the documentary Hillbilly, which was like just kind of becomes about the 2016 election. It's like not a topic that is comical a lot of the time, because there's just so much that has been misconstrued about the Appalachian region. Listen to our second episode. We touched on it in the second episode of this show.
Right. It does feel like punching down if you make it too comedic, so you have to be careful if you're going to do comedic. And I think this movie gets it right.
Well, that's why you initiate a role reversal. That's really like the most sensible way to do it. And college kids, they're always going to be easy targets.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because college, you feel like you're invincible, but you also don't quite have the level of self-awareness as, when you're an adult. It's this perfect, mixture, a volatile mixture. And college kids are they're the fodder for movies like these, traditionally, Yeah. And you see that in Cabin in the Woods. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like they have to be young to be sacrificed.
Right. They have to fit into all these archetypes. There's the fool, the jock. Do they call the blonde girl the whore?
They call her the whore, yeah.
Yeah, the virgin, and then the academic or like something like that.
Something
who's the
like
most
that.
Forgettable character in the movie. And that's a good kind of point where these movies diverge a lot. So once you start going under the surface, the kids in Cabin in the Woods are kind of like engineered to act within these stereotypes. Like you learn that there's like spouts that release pheromone gases that like whenever they make a sensible decision, they like flip a switch and they're like, actually, we don't all stay in one big group. We should split up. Whereas Tucker and Dale, it's like, that's just who they are. They are already these like idiots. You don't need to make excuses for them.
Yeah, they just have like built-in prejudices, and then they have their ringleader Chad, who has a tragic backstory with a hillbilly who apparently killed his mom and dad, until you find out at the end that he actually is half hillbilly.
He's half hillbilly, which is just hillbilly. Like so.
It's like a Darth Vader twist, like
and it's so like just absurd. And I've seen people be like, isn't Tucker and Dale like actually regressive because it's saying like he is half hillbilly and he's the villain there at the end? And I'm like, well, no, because like it's funny because he believes it. Like, you have to believe that hillbilly is somehow like an ethnicity that makes you genetically predisposed to violence. Like, that seems pretty stupid to me. So I'm going to laugh at that idea.
Oh yeah, the film does not like support that idea at all. I mean, it's very clear that Chad is like, he's definitely a product of his trauma, but like he's embraced this like douchey jock persona too,
Yeah.
where he thinks he's better than everybody else. He like talks to Katrina Bowden, the love interest,
Right.
and he's like, "You can drop the act now." Like
We're perfect for each other.
we're perfect because we're better than everybody else. So like he's really embraced this like supremacist kind of view of things. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you can't say the movie's endorsing Chad at all.
There's no rules out here. It's us against them. And if you don't think you can handle that, well, maybe you deserve to die.
That's up.
I want to give the characters in Cabin in the Woods their due, because while they are set up as like archetypes, I think they're a little more complicated than your typical archetype.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, the virgin's not even actually a virgin.
Right.
Like we open up with her like lamenting the breakup with a professor.
Yeah, she's had like an affair with a professor who broke up with her over email.
Yeah.
You see the way that these characters actually like interact with each other outside of this like controlled environment.
Yeah, they're like a Scooby-Doo gang. They're like,
yeah, I was getting Scooby-Doo vibes for sure.
Especially with Marty, who is like such a Shaggy character. You got to do your Shaggy impression for this episode, just whenever you feel like it.
All right, I'll just blurt something out.
I don't want to put you on the spot because I know that makes you uncomfortable. But like, I get like that vibe from everybody. Like the one character, they call her the whore. Can we call her something else?
You can call her by her name. Hold on. Her name, the character's name is Jules.
Jules? Okay. So yeah, the character names aren't super memorable. It's except for Marty. I just remember Marty for some reason. But all the other ones, I want to call them by their like what they're called in the movie. Right. Yeah, like Jules is not like you would expect her to be kind of catty and shallow, but she's really not. Like she's very friendly with her her diverse group of friends.
They all like act like a real friend group would. And you even have like when they start acting differently once they're in this environment, you'll have like Chris Hemsworth character. Yeah. And he calls somebody else like Egghead because he starts fitting into the jock archetype, and Marty's like, Egghead? He's on a full academic scholarship. Why is he calling him Egghead?
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. It really feels like it's not like, obviously eventually the characters fit into these molds eventually when they get to the cabin, and then the plot fits into a mold and everything. Yeah. But like it's having its cake and eating its too, but not in such a terrible way that it bothers me. Yeah. I appreciate the characters being a little more well-rounded, having something to do. And that contrasts so perfectly with the college kids in Tucker and Dale.
Yeah.
Because they are supposed to be kind of one note, because they're villains in a way, you know?
Yeah, well, there's also the theme in Tucker and Dale about, like, not just communication, but, like, being willing to listen. So Tucker and Dale are, like, pals. They have an epic bromance.
Epic bromance moment, yeah.
And they, like, have a lot of conversations that are really heartfelt. And you say Dale and Allison is sort of the heart of Tucker and Dale. I think it's Tucker and Dale. I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's true. I guess they're the romantic heart. And Tucker and Dale do have a really great bromance going on. There is like a substantial period of this film where Alan Tudyk is separated from Tyler Labine, and he has like wasp welts on his face, and he's like trying to battle these kids. I feel like he gets like the majority of
he gets his fingers cut off. His
bowling
fingers.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like he kind of takes on like
he takes the punch and gag role.
He's kind of the slapstick guy. There's a lot of slapstick in Tucker and Dale, which makes it almost like Looney Tunes, except for a lot more gore. So
definitely. And I think part of the reason why, like, there's another way you can sort of compare the college kids, because to me, I think Cabin in the Woods is kind of trying to play a straight horror movie alongside of this like framework concept. So if you removed those like interludes from The Office where they're like voyeuristically watching these college students, you almost get the feeling that like they want it to work on its own as a horror movie. And it just like,
but it's already been done.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's all these cliches, but they're still trying to like have these like genuine moments between each other. And you could kind of probably point at Joss Whedon for stuff like that, because a lot of it does kind of feel like that sort of Buffy kind of like quippy almost.
It is very quippy. There's like the guy that they meet at the gas station who's like really evil, and then he calls into the station later.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, I'm on speakerphone, aren't I? Like there's like that, he's right behind me, isn't he, kind of moment, which is like very Joss Whedon. Yeah, and this is, I guess, where my first kind of issue with Cabin in the Woods comes from. I was saying having their cake and eating it too with the characters. I'm okay with that. I think it's maybe a little bit of like a weird thing that they like release pheromones to alter the behavior. Whatever. My bigger issue is more that I don't find the film particularly scary.
Yeah.
Even though it seems like it is kind of like every time it does, it is, playing the hits, it feels like it's just kind of going through the motion, which is probably the point, but it doesn't make it more entertaining to watch. When it's playing it straight, when it's like they're all getting attacked in the cabin before they actually go, down into the lab.
Yeah. Well, that's like, compare the groups of college kids, like the one-liners that these like one-dimensional kids in Tucker and Dale are getting in, like one of the first things that we hear when they're at the campsite is like, if you have a recurring dream about sucking a dick, does that make you gay? And it's like, that is just the most perfect encapsulation of just like this ignorant, like, let everything fall out. Yeah, homophobic thing. And you get everything you need from that versus the kids in Cabin in the Woods where like you root for them because they're in those protagonist roles. And we'll talk about Marty a little bit here in a second too, because he's the subversion. Like he's the heart of the subversion right there.
Yeah.
But they're not direct parodies. They're kind of implied to have something more going on under the surface, but they're not that interesting, really.
No, they're not like, I wouldn't call them like super well rounded. It's more their dynamic. It seems good. Like you enjoy kind of watching them get to where they're going.
Yeah.
Because you're also kind of enjoying the wind up to it.
Yeah.
And, I think the obvious thing is the guys in the control room are like the audience in a way, but they're also like the director and the writer and the studio making the movie at the same time. And I feel like this movie, when it is having its cake and eating it too, it is the intercutting between these two movies that don't get kind of squashed together until like the third act.
Yeah.
Starts to feel a little incongruous. And that's like kind of a sticking, like imagine Cabin in the Woods, but it's playing all the beats straight. Except for, the characters are, they're a little different. They're not quite so cliched as you're used to, but the setup's the same. Go into a cabin in the woods in the weekend. It's dark and scary. Meet a guy who's like, oh, getting there is easy. Getting back, that's the hard part.
And there's that guy in both of these movies too, which is great.
So, but imagine like they actually go and you never do get that scene where you see that they're directly above this underground laboratory trying to feed, Lovecraftian monsters. And like, imagine that being a twist. Like you get the scene where they're driving through the tunnel and there's like an eagle that hits a wall.
Yeah.
Which
you're saying like, that just make that it?
Well, like, no,
or just get rid of that too.
Yeah. Get rid of that. Like, cause like, imagine you get to the scene where Chris Hemsworth, the athlete or the jock, he gets on his dirt bike to cross the chasm. It's this big wind up, the hero music and everything. And he's like, don't go easy. And he's like, I never do. It's like all this wind up. But because we've seen that the eagle, like there's a wall there. Yeah. He's not going to make it.
Yeah.
Is this like a Hitchcock thing where it's like you see the bomb under the table and it's like more tense?
Yeah.
Or would it be like more of a shock if you never saw that beforehand and he just hits the wall and then suddenly you're like, holy shit, I'm in a different movie than I thought I was.
Yeah, that's interesting for sure, because like they telegraph it pretty excessively in Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, yeah.
And I think what most people remember about Cabin in the Woods is the third act when everything just like all hell breaks loose, basically. Like they get in the elevator where they sent the Buckners, which is the quote unquote zombie redneck torture family.
Right.
They get in the elevator, they go to the lab where all of these supernatural creatures are kept. And then like all of the people are freaking out because they're like, they have to die or else the gods are going to kill all of us. That's what people remember most. They remember seeing all the monsters. They remember the scene where all the elevators open and everybody dies a really bloody death. You don't remember the buildup so much, but the buildup is not incredibly tense, I wouldn't say.
It could be made more tense for sure. I do think the intercutting lets out a lot of the tension. And this is just a hallmark of a lot of Joss Whedon work.
Yeah.
It's the bathos, he's always punctuating a serious moment with a joke of some sort. And, he tips his hand, and he probably doesn't need to. Well, it's not just Whedon; it's also Goddard.
It's Goddard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these movies are talking about tropes, kind of. I mean, they're utilizing tropes, but I think Cabin in the Woods wants to talk about them a little bit more. And if they do what you're saying and they don't, show their hand at the beginning,
Yeah.
they just kind of let it unravel, that becomes a lot more absurd.
It does.
But it still makes a point, because if you're playing all the tropes completely straight, and everybody's like, oh, I've seen this before, let's just laugh and have a good time. And then it starts to tip in a different direction where you're like, wait a minute, is this actually being engineered? That is more interesting to me.
I think like it kind of revels in its own cleverness.
Well, that's a Whedon tell.
Again, that's a Whedon tell. And it does that for the first, 2 acts, when it could save that till the final act, and it kind of blows you away. So I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic. I mean, it's kind of a movie where if you are kind of meant to identify with the controllers at first, you're sort of rooting for them to kill off this group of teenagers. It's like it's a new way of rooting for the old way of doing horror movies. It's sort of revitalizing it a little bit, and then it gets there's a really kind of poignant image in the movie where all the controllers are celebrating and they're drinking their champagne. And in the background, there's a TV of, the final girl, who you think is the final girl, getting thrown around and almost murdered by this critter, this ghoul of some sort. And like, that's great. Cause it's like, that's the sort of like, we did it, guys. We hit all the beats, and that's all that matters. And it's a very like, it's self-satisfied in a way that's like actually funny and kind of making a commentary on the movies. Yeah,
that is more poignant. And when Sigourney Weaver shows up, they literally call her the director. So Cabin in the Woods tries to be a big holistic mirror to the horror genre, which is just like, you want to see this, you want to root for these kids to die. Well, here you go, and we're going to celebrate that. And ultimately, it's not saying like, this is the only way, because it sides with the protagonists, and they choose to survive. They choose not to kill each other, basically.
Yeah.
And then doom humanity for that.
It chooses chaos, is what it chooses, which is fine. I think it's fine for a self-contained movie. I don't think that Cabin in the Woods is like I don't think it's a clever diagnosis of horror films as a, like slashers and stuff like that. Like, I think it's more just like, okay, we have all of our tropes and we're going to deconstruct them, but we're not going to reconstruct them into anything. Yeah. We're just going to kind of let it all go to shit. It's all going to be chaotic. Everyone's going to die. All the movie monsters are going to come together, and it's fun. It's like, it's an Avengers moment, It's like, but there's nowhere really to go from there except for just cut to black. The world ends, which is fine. Like I'm saying, totally fine for a self-contained movie. How do you apply that to the genre? That's where the cleverness kind of gets to me a little bit, because it's like, it almost feels like it wants to be, here's what you should do to make your movie a little more interesting. And here's the problem with horror movies nowadays. And while it's paying homage to classics like Evil Dead and Friday the 13th.
Lots of homage, yeah.
Yeah, lots of homage. And it's like, I get the whole postmodern, metafiction aspect of it, and I think that there's a place for that. But then where do you go after postmodern? Right.
It's next? If Cabin in the Woods is saying that this is not the way, it's kind of presenting itself as the solution a little bit. Like, hey, this is
and
what
it's not a solution.
No, it's not a solution. It's like, you're kind of like, you're seeing all the stuff that you want to see, and it's saying that you want to see it, but it's true, you do.
Yeah, I mean, no movie is a solution. No movie is a solution, or no story is a solution to well-trod tropes and cliches and everything like that. There can be no one solution, because stories evolve and tropes come in and out. And so, I'm not asking for I'm really not asking for like a panacea that answers all of my issues with, or Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard's issues with horror movies. I just think that the ending is maybe a little bit of a cop-out. It's just a little bit of a, well, we don't really know what else we could do with this, so we'll just say everybody dies. It's almost like it was all a dream kind of deal. And Tucker and Dale just takes a quaint. It's Tucker and Dale compared to Cabin in the Woods is so quaint It's so warm.
Well, it feels like it's more for somebody, you know? And it's that kind of movie where, like,
It's almost like apologizing.
well, yeah, but it's also the kind of movie where you see a wood chipper and you know exactly what's going to happen. It's
Yeah.
not trying to like fool you in any sort of way. It's saying like you know you want to see it and we're going to give it
We're
to
going to
you.
give it to you. And it's going to be a little clever because it's not going to be the way you think, but it's literally just a kid tripping into it. You know, it's not,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
like not clever at all, and that's what makes it clever.
And that's what makes it clever.
It's
exactly.
brilliant.
Yeah, it kind of revels in its own kind of stupidity. And whereas Cabin in the Woods is a movie that I feel like loves the smell of its own farts a little bit. And you know, going into this matchup, I will say I had Tucker and Dale rated at a 3-star on Letterboxd. I had Cabin in the Woods rated at 3.5 stars for what that counts.
Okay. Yeah.
I consider these movies very close in quality. I have plenty of critiques of Tucker and Dale. I mean, it's kind of a slight movie. I don't get all the feels from it, even though I do think it is ultimately a warmer film.
Yeah.
I think like the character, like Tucker and Dale and Katrina Loudon, I can't remember her character's name.
Allison.
Yeah. I feel like that's like they seem like good people. I like their characters, and I like Chad as a villain. Like I do like that stuff. But
Yeah.
the movie is, I wouldn't watch it as many times as you've watched it.
Well,
you know?
I think to me, Tucker and Dale is almost like, it's almost comfort food in a similar way to a sitcom, which
Yeah.
is absurd because it's bloody,
Yeah,
it's
that's
gory, but it's all so exaggerated at the same time. And it also plays a little bit more with the form. There's more of like an ugly, grungy kind of color grade on it at times.
Yeah.
Which
Which almost feels like a joke, like a tongue-in-cheek
Oh,
kind of thing.
I definitely think it is a joke. I definitely think that there's so many, like I said, the Pine Barren joke at the very beginning. To me, it's like, I feel like I'm in on it. And I think that's why a lot of people probably gravitate towards Tucker and Dale. Whereas I think a lot of people really loved Cabin in the Woods when it first came out. And I just don't think it's aged with the same grace.
Yeah, you were saying this before we recorded. What do you mean it hasn't aged? It hasn't aged as well as Tucker and Dale, and not just the Joss Whedon connection, because obviously he's fallen out of the limelight. But is there something about this story that you feel like hasn't aged as well?
Yeah, well, I just think you can date Cabin in the Woods to the time that it came out. Look at the Marty character. They're always like, they're like, whatever he's smoking, it's our pheromones aren't working on him. And it's like weed is such a crazy thing in 2012.
Yeah.
Like, Joss Whedon, you're straight edge, aren't you? It just feels a lot more like, and it came out after Tucker and Dale.
Yeah, it came out after Tucker and Dale, but and I feel like this is like the elephant in the room. It came out after Scream.
Yeah.
And Scream is like so, like it already kind of did a lot of what Cabin in the Woods does, except I feel like Scream probably did a little more clever, and it did it with more craft. I mean, Wes Craven, I mean, he was an artist. And I think also Scream is probably more scary. It's also funny. Like it's all kinds of things.
I wouldn't call Cabin in the Woods or Tucker and Dale scary. Scream is trying to Scream is a satire. It's still functioning within like the constraints of a horror, but it's also poking at it a little bit. It was kind of revolutionary. But that's the thing about these tropes. Horror as a genre is the tropiest thing. You can dissect other genres, but like I think a lot of people who I have known who go into filmmaking, they start with horror because like it's one of the most telegraphed genres you can have, and I think it's a lot more fun to play with. Cabin in the Woods, it's not doing that really specific thing that something like Tucker and Dale or even Scream is doing. It's trying to do a lot of things at once. And you said yourself, that zombie redneck torture family, it's not scary, and it's not really trying to be at the same time. Have you heard of the SCP Foundation?
Yes, I've heard of SCP. Well, and before we move on to SCP, I maybe it's not trying to be scary. I don't know. You can never know really the intentions of the filmmaker unless they just come out and say it. But there's a whole chunk of this movie that is played straight, like an actual regular run-of-the-mill horror movie. And it's like, okay, what am I supposed to be feeling? Am I supposed to be laughing at this? Because it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's familiar. Am I supposed to be comforted by the familiar? like what is the emotion that you get out of a scene that you've seen a million times, like in Cabin in the Woods? Like, if it's not supposed to be horror, like what is it for you?
It's like waiting for the shoe to drop, really. It's like
It's
kind of
the
waiting for the
ticking time
joke.
bomb under the table.
Yeah, a little bit. Whereas Tucker and Dale, like, even though you know probably what's going to happen a lot of the time, but I do think there's a genuine chemistry kind of between Alan Tudyk and Tyler Laban that's like, I really like them in this movie.
Yeah.
And I like spending time with them too. I would go to a cabin in the woods with Tucker and Dale.
Oh,
I'd go.
hell yeah.
I don't even like fishing. I'd go fishing with them.
Yeah,
It wouldn't
fix
be a
up their
peeping
cabin with
Tom.
them. Yeah. What does he say when
You was being a peeping Tom.
he says, if you see a college girl prancing around you half naked, you do not yell my name.
Call the police.
Yeah.
Tell them what?
Oh, I would tell him what happened.
It's a good idea, Dale. Oh, howdy ho, officer. We've had a doozy of a day. There we were minding our own business, just doing some chores around the house when kids started killing themselves all over my property.
Well, that's what happened, Tucker.
Okay, SCP Foundation. Sorry to derail.
Yeah, well, it's Special Containment Procedure. This
Okay.
was a wiki that gained a lot of traction. I think it started on 4chan, and you're getting into like the beginnings of analog horror here.
Right.
It was way before the Backrooms. Probably Backrooms wouldn't exist without SCP Foundation, I'm sure. But it's really just a wiki that's like, it got a lot of praise because it would describe these like horror concepts, and a lot of them were really funny. And a lot of them tried to be these like Lovecraftian, like you can't even wrap your brain around it, kind of like they're like organisms or they're like whole concepts, and people would just write on it. Because it was a wiki. It was like open to the public, and you would just write it. You would create SCP number blank.
Yeah. It's
And
like urban kind of myths. Kind of
right.
thing.
It's like Slenderman. This is around the time Slenderman's like gaining traction too. So there's a very specific place. This is again goes to where you can date Cabin in the Woods, because Cabin in the Woods feels like the closest thing we're going to get to like an adaptation of the SCP Foundation.
Yeah, that's fair. You have that great scene where they're in the elevator and it kind of zooms out and they're in this like matrix of other elevators containing all kinds of different critters and creatures from horror. And that definitely feels like that's just a great shot because
It's like an I Spy photo.
it's like an I Spy photo, but it also feels like sort of a thesis statement for maybe Whedon and Goddard's like anxieties with horror, where it's like it's been all boxed up and contained, and there is a Wikipedia for everything, you know.
Yeah.
You have this growth of SCP and Slender Man, which at first, you know, when they first kind of come onto the scene, and analog horror in general first comes onto the scene, it's this mysterious, you know, you can't figure out what's going on. The mystery is what's scary about it.
Yeah, there's something off about it, you know.
And
It's like a Skinamarink kind of thing.
It's like it's like a skinkadink. And as it gets more popular, and more people kind of get in on it, it loses a lot of that luster. It stops becoming so mysterious. I think something like SCP and Backrooms, you know.
Yeah.
We have a Backrooms movie coming out soon, from like a very young,
From a child,
like
yeah.
a child, younger than us,
to make everybody feel bad about
yeah, we have a Backrooms movie coming out, and it's like the Backrooms are really interesting, as long as you don't like delve into the details of the Backrooms.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a shit about guys going in there and trying to contain it from the government and like trying to categorize it and all.
Yeah.
Like it needs to maintain a nebulousness. And so, and I agree with Whedon and Goddard. If that's their issue with horror, I mean, obviously the underground lab is this like very sterile corporate environment. It's like cubicles and guys in, you know, suits and stuff. And they're just like, you know, it's just another day sipping coffee. And it's, you know, business as usual. And I agree. I think that's a big issue. I just don't know what are they advocating for? Is it just chaos? You know, like here's another issue I have. And this dovetails off what I just said.
Okay.
And sorry if I'm kind of like taking up some of this. But
No.
they go down. Yeah, I'm talking on my podcast. What can I say?
Well, you know, I guess the simple answer to what Cabin in the Woods is saying is like, it's just kind of condemning formula.
It's
I
condemning
guess.
formula, sure. It goes down into the cellar, and you have all these haunted objects, right? You have every haunted object from every horror movie.
All
ever.
of them summon something that's
They
within the SCP Foundation,
yes,
basically.
like there's a ventriloquist thing. There's like a
There's a
ballerina,
Hellraiser.
There's a Hellraiser thing. Okay, your movie's called Cabin in the Woods. They go to a cabin in the woods. There's only so many types of horror monsters that can actually show up at like a merman isn't going to show up at a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
You know?
And to me, it's like
A robot spider monster that, chainsaws people is not going to show up to a cabin in the woods. So it's like, and here we go again, having your cake and eating it too. It's like they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink in the third act of this movie. And I think it maybe needs to be a little, because to me, it's less of a parody or a satire or a commentary, whatever you want to call it, on slash or on horror. It's more focused just on slasher in general.
Yeah.
It very much is like the your Friday the 13th, your Halloweens, your Evil Dead. I mean, Evil Dead, supernatural kind of slasher. I don't know.
I think it takes probably the most inspiration from like an Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Honestly, which is one of the like most quintessential like American auteur horror. I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it definitely defined a generation in a way that I feel like Cabin in the Woods wishes it could do.
Well, Evil Dead embraces chaos a little bit more than something that embraces like a more artistic touch, like a Halloween or
Sure.
like a
more controlled kind of touch.
yeah, it's like an auteur flair, a John Carpenter, if you will. Like what's Drew Goddard's flair? It was his first out of the gate. I actually like Drew Goddard as a writer a lot. More than Joss Whedon for what that's worth. But I mean, Bad Times at the El Royale doesn't make an impression on me either. And so I think it's just a lot of like seeing things that you like and not really having, not that you need like a message or a point to your movie, but if you're going to be playing with these tropes, you need something more than like, look at all these tropes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, how do you think Tucker and Dale kind of subverts that?
Well, I think Tucker and Dale subverts it by being done in earnest. I think it's a sincere movie. I think at the heart of the film are these two relationships, Tucker and Dale, and Allison.
Dale and Allison,
and Dale, yeah. There's like an actual, and you also have a funny, compelling villain in Chad.
Yeah.
You have all these elements that work well together because they are played in earnest, and there's a sincerity there that I don't think that to me, Cabin in the Woods is almost misanthropic. It's funny, the more I'm talking about Cabin in the Woods, the more I'm disliking it, which
Imagine
is so
that.
odd.
Yeah, it's
You would think and I told you before we went into this, I was like, we're definitely going to talk about Cabin in the Woods more because I think it's saying more, it's trying to do more.
But like, it's trying, and yet all Tucker and Dale has to do is like have Chad take someone's phone and be like, I told you it doesn't work out here, because like we know these tropes. We know them. We've seen them.
Yes.
This is funny. You don't need to be like, all right, now cut the signal. The kids can't call anybody. No, it's like, it's like take it and smash it for no reason.
Oh yeah.
Just because that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Don't try to be too smart with it. Cause I think at the end of the day, it kind of bites you in the ass. And that's am I making sense? Like, are you, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Or?
Yeah. Well, you were asking me why I thought Cabin in the Woods doesn't age as gracefully as something like Tucker and the Dale, which I have seen a lot.
Yeah.
And watching it this time around after seeing Wrong Turn, especially, that added a lot to my experience.
Yes.
I've seen plenty come and go. And I've been here since the war.
Which war?
You know damn well which war.
Would that have been with the blue and some in gray?
You sassing me, boy.
You were rude to my friend.
All right, tell me some of the things you do like about Cabin in the Woods.
I didn't plan on coming out of the
coming
gate
and trashing.
Yeah. No, there's stuff I really do like about Cabin in the Woods. I like that the characters are more well-rounded than your typical kind of cliches. I think it's a funny movie.
It can be funny.
There can be lots of laughs in it. I like the direction that it seems to kind of be going in. I don't like the ending.
No, you don't like the ending.
I don't really like that it's just like a everything kind of ending.
Yeah.
Because to me that just doesn't. It feels like a cop out. It kind of feels not very clever, and it doesn't feel scary. I don't know.
No, it's not. It's not scary.
It's not scary.
I don't really get the sense, and that's why I don't really like attribute either of these movies to being horror movies. My parents will not watch horror movies, but I was home last weekend visiting them, and I got them to watch Tucker and Dale with me, and I was like, "Are you okay watching something that's like really funny but has a lot of like blood and stuff like that?" And my dad was like, is it like a hot fuzz kind of thing?
Mhm.
And I was like, you know, it kind of is a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of is.
A little bit. It's not, I don't think it has like, it doesn't have the expertise of an Edgar Wright film for sure. But at the same time, like, I don't think it's not ballpark in terms of what it's trying to accomplish and what it does, because it really is comfy. And Cabin in the Woods, yeah, there are funny things in there. The Marty character is funny, but he's also that kind of, he's one of the reasons why I can kind of place it to the time where it came out at the same time. But like, man, we're being watched.
I was waiting for it. Yeah, he's playing that.
He finds the camera. He's like, what the what?
I'm on reality TV. Yeah, I mean, I like stuff like that. I love like the main girl, Dana is her name.
Yeah, she's fine.
I like her moment where she kind of realizes that they are being puppeteered.
She's like, Marty's right.
And she's like, they're right. And she's like, what's the point? Because like her boyfriend Holden is like, we'll just go to the woods and we'll run. And she's just like, what's the point?
Like,
and I was like, that's great. I love
we're
that.
doomed from the start.
Yeah, exactly. I love that fatalism. And I wish the movie would kind of get a little more maybe into that. I don't know, maybe a different direction to take it in.
Well, if it did what you were saying and it didn't telegraph from the beginning that they were doomed like from the start, then it becomes more tragic. Yeah, interesting and tragic in that way. And that probably would have been a better movie, but we're not saying how we're going to correct these movies.
Man, it's a good movie. It's fun. It's funny.
There's some great dialogue.
There's some great dialogue.
Doozy of a day. You know, the cop actually shows up and he's like walking around. He actually gives them a chance to explain themselves. Yeah. And they do. And he like believes them. He's like kind of a reasonable guy. And then unfortunately he gets impaled in the head with a loose beam that has a bunch of nails sticking out of it, because Tucker and Dale actually did inherit a cabin that like belonged to murderers beforehand, which is one of those like jokes that they probably play into it a little bit too much, but it's still like objectively funny. And there's some of that fatalism to Tucker and Dale too, but it's more on a psychological level, because it's not just a movie that's like miscommunication kills. They actually do sit down
and talk.
And Chad is just too stubborn in his beliefs. He doesn't want to hear them out, so he doesn't. And that's what makes him the villain.
Yeah, fix your hearts or die.
Fix your hearts or die.
I told them, fix your hearts or die.
Cleanse them. Cleanse the world of their ignorance and sin. Bathe them in the crimson of... Am I on speakerphone?
No, absolutely not. Speakerphone, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yes, I am. I can hear the echo.
All right, let's get into some questions.
You want to go first?
I will go first. All right, Jeff. Which horror movie monster is getting you?
Which horror movie monster is getting me?
Yeah, which one's getting you?
Cotton candy glob. Yeah, it's got to be the cotton candy glob from Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Well, which one's getting you?
You know, I feel like it'd just be like a vampire of some sort. Something that flies. I feel like I'm the type of guy who's like running with everybody, and I get picked up and carried off somewhere.
What about like a gargoyle?
Yeah, gargoyle or
okay,
like a Mothman or something picks me up.
Oh, if you got Mothman to get you, but I feel like Mothman's benevolent personally.
Well, yeah, no, I mean I would be okay.
Right, and then you come back at the end and you save everybody.
Yeah, what do you think I meant by getting me? She's getting me. She's picking me up.
Getting me out of there, away from the real danger.
I like show up in the third act and I'm like, hey, I have like a lollipop. Where you guys at? What happened?
What's going on? I've been out of it for a little bit.
Yeah. Me and Mothman got lollipops because people still do that.
Yeah, which one's gonna get me? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Bigfoot. He's a little reclusive. He gets me, you know?
He gets you, yeah. He's like a bro.
Okay, well, kicking off our horror movie month, what horror genre is the one that like gets under your skin the most?
Yeah, the one that gets under my skin the most. The one that I think kind of I gravitate toward is found footage, and it's not really, I guess, a genre. It's more a style.
Does it scare you the most?
It can. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I do like a good psychological thing, but I love found footage. I think when it's done really well, it's done really well.
Like a Grave Encounters 2 type thing, where the ghost is the one holding the camera.
Oh, dude, you can't tell me that wasn't awesome.
I can say that I had never seen that before.
Yeah, you can say that was a way more creative way to end that movie than the way Joss Whedon ended Cabin in the Woods. Zing! All right, what about you? What is the horror genre? I think I already know the answer to this. Is it zombies?
Zombies do get under my skin. But the one that I think disturbs me the most is like kind of possession movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, being out of control of your own body and out of your mind at the same time. Like, I don't know. I used to have a lot of night terrors as a kid, and I think my mom actually did think I was like possessed by a demon at some point. So maybe I was. I don't know.
So are you scared of like The Exorcist and stuff?
I've never seen The Exorcist.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're putting me out. But when I watched Hereditary for the first time, it really got me. Like I was really scared.
Yeah, Hereditary is a good one. I think it got me because of like the up dynamic between like the son and mom.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a good relationship with my mom, so like just seeing like a bad one on screen just always makes me like, I don't know, gets under my skin. That's my least favorite. There's my horror for you.
Mom
son. Horror. Mom son horror.
You hate Ma.
Anytime the mom seems like she's losing it. All right, so what's a horror movie that could fit into the Tucker and Dale formula? So it's basically just like you have the victims and the villains, and it could all be solved with a sit down. It's all a miscommunication. What's a movie that could conceivably be like that?
Yeah, what if
that you've seen, like an actual one?
Yeah, what if Michael Myers sat down with Laurie Strode and was
talked?
like, "I just want to kill you.
Oh.
Why are you running away?" And she's like, "Well, I just don't want to be killed by you." And they have to kind of. It's almost like My Dinner with Andre, but.
Oh, wow. So like 90 minutes of them just talking over dinner?
Just, 90 minutes of an impasse between the two of them.
Okay. So, it's a little pessimistic. I was like hoping for maybe more of like they sit down and resolve their issues, which I guess they don't do.
Well, they could. I mean, I don't have an ending for it, but.
Yeah, I just can't imagine Michael Myers having much to say.
Yeah, what if she's like, kill the waiter instead or something like that?
Oh, okay, compromise.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not, though. That's like almost something that happens in The Invisible Man. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Wait, do you have something in mind?
I would do The Descent. Yeah, because you have all these women who like fall into this cave.
And they should just talk to the creatures that are in the cave?
Well, they fall into the cave and it's like, like they've intruded upon these creatures' habitat and they kill a lot of them. They kill a lot of the little goblins. And it's like, maybe if they just sat down and kind of talked about like, hey, sorry, we got lost in here. We don't want to kill any of your guys. Don't kill any of our guys. Maybe they could have led them out of the cave.
You're talking about Mickey 17 right now.
Next question, please.
Okay, so which country's ritual sacrifice from Cabin in the Woods would you be interested in watching?
Yeah, I gotta watch the Japanese schoolgirls getting like putting the
they're all holding hands, singing around this like poltergeist that destroys it, turns it into like a frog.
A frog, yeah.
And the bell rings, and they're like, somebody's spirit now lives in this happy frog. Yeah, and like everybody celebrates.
They're all just happy about it.
Yeah, that has to be a reference to something, right?
Yeah, I am not super familiar with like J horror or whatever, but yeah, that's so funny to me. Like I just would love to see that movie.
What if there's like I wonder which countries actually participate in this. If it's like only like the superpowers, or if it's like everybody's got like. What if there was actually like a Transylvania every year, and they're going to do vampires this year, and Transylvania's like, we're not going to do vampire. Why does everybody always think we're going to do vampires? Or something like that.
Yeah,
that already sounds like a Joss Whedon. That's probably in the director's cut. They cut it out for time.
You and Joss Whedon, you're like one of a kind.
Oh, you think? Oh. Do your Joss Whedon impression.
All right. What genre or subgenre would you want to see get the Cabin in the Woods treatment? So this is like Cabin in the Woods is like a slasher horror. So you can do another horror, or you can do just a totally different genre.
Well, like the whole thing's being engineered?
Yeah, like it's going to play by the beats, tropes, and then something goes horribly wrong at the end and they choose chaos.
Pure Flicks.
Oh my God, like a Christian propaganda.
Yes, absolutely. Something that just plays all of it completely straight until the last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it goes off the rails. And it's, like a lot of these pure flicks Christian propaganda movies, nothing against, the Organization of Christianity.
Nothing against the entire religion of Christianity.
But like there's so many of these like really awful propaganda movies that are just objectively poorly crafted.
Yeah, I've heard you pitch this to me before.
Yes, I have pitched this. Yeah. But you just get one where like it plays all of them so straight. And then at the end, like, I don't know, the cops show up and arrest everybody and people are screaming and like...
They arrest Jesus who comes out of a portal. Like at the end of The Girl Who Believes in Miracles.
Hey man, I was very inspired by The Girl Who Believes in Miracles, and I would recommend that watch to anybody, because just imagine that story, but the cops arrest everybody at the end, because that actually could have happened in that narrative.
That's what should have happened, yeah.
Yeah, in reality, that's what would have happened.
A lot of illegal shit.
What about you?
I the rom-com, like I want to see the rom-com get this treatment.
Hasn't that been done?
No, I mean like you have like one where it's like a lab underneath like,
okay, yeah, no.
They're doing like the meet cute thing and everything.
So they're engineering the meet cute.
Maybe they're like engineering, like, okay, so like you follow the woman and she's trying to meet her perfect man, and they're engineering men to come out. And so she ends up in an elevator and she's surrounded by a matrix of like different types of rom-com men.
Oh my god.
The douchey ex and like, like the weird kind of one date guy that she went on and like.
Yeah. What is that? There's like a Rebel Wilson movie where she like ends up in like a G-rated comedy, or like a PG-rated rom-com, and every time she like, and I think Chris Hemsworth's in it too, and like
really?
They go to have sex and it just like cuts to curtains wafting, and she's like, "What just happened? Like I thought we were gonna," and she keeps trying to do it, and they like, because it's like PG, they can't.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I'd see that. They had my idea.
Anyway, next question: which prequel would you rather watch?
I want to see Cabin in the Woods.
Really?
Yeah, maybe kind of surprising, but there's a lot you can do with this premise. I don't feel like they did it right.
Do you feel like every horror movie kind of is a prequel to Cabin in the Woods, or at least that's what it's trying to claim? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could kind of consider that. Yeah, I think I'd rather just see, and it doesn't have to be Cabin in the Woods. We could follow the Japanese schoolgirls in this prequel or something. What's a prequel to Tucker and Dale? Is that what you would prefer?
Yeah, it's the time where they went down to the creek to catch frogs, and Tucker always let Dale think that he caught more than him because he let him.
Children in this story.
Yeah, I mean, it could
Tucker and Dale versus gaslighting.
I would just
the real
watch
horror monster.
A hangout movie with Tucker and Dale, something like that.
I definitely see that. There's a proposed sequel where they go to like college, right?
Oh, Tucker and Dale go to Yale.
Yeah, which
that's
sounds
right.
awesome.
I would definitely watch that.
So what is that? So like a take on the frat movie or something? Or?
Yeah, it almost feels like 22 Jump Street already kind of did that.
Oh yeah, I guess that's fair. Rebel Wilson already did that one too. Okay, so Tucker and Dale visit the cabin in the woods. Who are they fighting, and who's coming out on top?
Yeah, I was thinking about like how you could cross these movies over with one another, and like, are Tucker and Dale like agents that they try to hire to kill, or are they the people who end up in the scenario?
They kind of, they end up in it. Yeah, we'll say that. They're not supposed to be there.
Okay.
They're not supposed to be there at all. They just like show up and they walk into the cabin and they're like, "Oh, yeah, nice cabin," because they think it's, the other cabin they were supposed to go to. It's just like right across the street.
Right.
They just missed it.
Yeah.
They're at the wrong cabin.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and then they like go down into the cellar. It's like, okay, what object are they going to get? And like, okay, maybe playing a little stereotypical, but they're hunters and
no, I think this is great because I think you actually do the merman. And the thing about the merman is it's so stupid. Like all you do is just stay out of the water, right? And Dale's like, "I saw a merman, Dale. Like you can't go out there fishing." And Dale's like, or Tucker's like, he doesn't believe him, so he keeps going out there fishing, and like so it's like a role reversal where Dale kind of like gets the crap beaten out of him, and Tucker's like just minding his own business, like trying to fish and drink PBR.
Oh man, I love that.
That'd be great. Yeah, and it's so funny because like, and they can do the thing where they're sitting on the shore and they finally realize, and they're like arguing, and between them you just see the merman like slowly crawling towards them, because that's like a joke in Cabin in the Woods that
was like
I thought fell flat personally.
Oh, like the little girl like walking up to Marty while he's peeing. Yeah. Actually, kind of like that.
But no, the merman when he shows up at the end and he's crawling through the lab.
Oh yeah,
you see him crawling through, and I just like.
You don't think that's funny?
Yeah, it's like a. Well, that happened.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
So I put him up against the merman.
Okay, that's cool. I was like, my initial thought was like, oh, they see like a haunted like deer mount or something, and they summon a Wendigo or something like that. But that's a little more straight. I like your take where it's like more of a comedy.
That'd be cool. Yeah, to actually kind of play into the horror tropes a little bit more. Yeah, that would. But they'd make it out. They'd be fine.
Yeah, they make it out, and I feel like the ending is a little more heartfelt, and like the world doesn't end somehow. Like I don't know how they do it. They satisfy the old gods by like their camaraderie. The old gods are like, yeah, we love this.
We just want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
In every movie, like
just good.
Tucker
vibes.
loses like different fingers, and by like the fourth one, he's got like all different fingers. Yeah. Okay, so this kind of goes with some of the stuff we've already said, but what other horror movies do you think were the direct engineering of the puppeteers in Cabin in the Woods?
So like a horror movie that ended up so formulaic.
And like everybody dies except for the virgin optional.
Ooh, the virgin. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like an exact.
You got to think of the final girl.
The final girl, yeah.
Who I guess Halloween could count, but Halloween's like too good.
That's the thing. Like all the movies that Cabin in the Woods is kind of aping off of are actually good. At least the ones that stick out in your head. I mean, because you remember the good ones.
And maybe it could be like a Nightmare on Elm Street. That's got a final girl, right? I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, it has a final girl. She gets pulled through a window at the end.
A Wendigo?
No, a window. I don't know. I kind of struggle with this one a little bit because, I mean, I feel like if you're just going to do it, you kind of have to do like one of the good ones. Like Friday the 13th or something like that.
Yeah.
You got Ash in Evil Dead. He's the final girl. He does have like a kind of a girl name, so.
Ash, yeah.
Ashley.
Could be
Williams.
interchangeable.
All right. If Chad from Tucker and Dale was part of the Deliverance crew, so we're going all the way back to Deliverance. You got your four guys and Chad.
The original gas station scene.
How would things have gone down differently in Deliverance?
Yeah, because like, well, if it's Chad, he's throwing an axe.
Okay.
Is like, and there's a lot more axe throwing in Deliverance. Like they'll just be like rafting, and an axe will fly, and they'll like either dodge it or it'll hit them.
Wait, but he's a good guy, right? He's like with them.
Chad. Oh, you're saying he's with
he's
the
like
heroes.
part of their crew. Yeah, he's like, because to me, Chad was giving like Burt Reynolds vibes from.
Yeah. He takes the crossbow and he says, "It doesn't work out here." He's like they don't even like go on the river. They track down the guy who runs away, and they just become people who are on a murder quest led by Chad.
Do they even get like assaulted or anything? Because I feel like Chad is just always at the ready. Like he's willing to just drop a hillbilly at the drop of a hat. Like he won't let them out of his sight.
Yeah, he probably does the preemptive strike, which, knowing what you know about Deliverance, like, he would be saving them a lot of trouble. But
he did murder. He would be murdered.
He would be like, he'd be like threatening them at like axe point.
You're like, you guys won't tell anybody about this, will you?
Don't bother my friends.
He's so good. Chad is so funny.
He's great. Yeah, he really is. That's how it would go.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, last question. Which movie would you see having more like audience rituals at like a midnight screening? I'm still reeling from our Big Shark experience, I'm thinking about like watching these in a theater, packed house, sold out, everybody's drinking, everybody's yelling at the screen.
I think Tucker and Dale. I think it has, because I think it's where Cabin in the Woods is doing a lot of things, like kind of playing it straight for a big portion of the movie. It's not like even like fun in that way. And Tucker and Dale has like so many more iconic lines, and you can always, take a shot every time, a college kid trips on his ass.
Yeah, anytime any of them die, you can like finish your drink, basically.
Yeah.
I think Cabin in the Woods, because it has so many moments that are like you're kind of waiting for the next thing to happen. Like you can fill that silence with like those Rocky Horror like recitations. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, you remember when we saw Rocky Horror in theaters, and there was that one guy in the back who like had the script for what all of the audience members are supposed to say.
Yeah.
you can make it more ritualistic, whereas I think Tucker and Dale is just much more of a riot, basically.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, ritual. I guess that makes sense because Cabin in the Woods is playing with like a formula.
Yeah.
And Tucker and Dale is more just like, we're just going to roll reverse and run with it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, that means we've reached the end of Hard Ticket, which means there is only one more question to answer. Jeff, what is your hard ticket going to on our inaugural Spooky Month episode?
You know, before going into this, I had a feeling it was going to be Tucker and Dale. I hadn't seen Cabin in the Woods in years, and I was excited to revisit it because I remember just having a really good time when I watched it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was kind of my fears were proven correct. Like, Cabin in the Woods, for me, just doesn't hold up as much as it did back then. Not to say that it's bad, not to say that I didn't enjoy it, not to say that I wouldn't defend it. And I would, even though it's been sort of an easy target of this episode when you put it up against Tucker and Dale, which is my hard ticket. I've seen Tucker and Dale so many times. It is one of those movies that I kind of feel like eventually I might get tired of it, but I haven't yet. And this past watch, especially for this podcast, with Wrong Turn and Deliverance both in my head, holy crap, it was a blast.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. I'm surprising myself a little bit with this one because I did anticipate Cabin in the Woods coming out on top. I'd seen Tucker and Dale like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it on like a laptop in college, you know. I just don't really have a lot of memories of it. And Cabin in the Woods is one that I caught on FX like every Sunday. It was playing when I was, in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of burned in my memory, and I did have fonder memories of it. But I got to go with Tucker and Dale for this one because I just find it a more sincere movie.
Did it improve for you on the rewatch?
It did improve a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say so. It's quaint, and quaint in a very charming way. And I want to see Tucker and Dale in more stuff. Like, they should come. They're like Laurel and Hardy. They should come back. Abbott and Costello. Keep naming
I
them.
would love seeing them again. Unfortunately, now it's been like 15 years since the movie came out.
Alan Tudyk's dead. I'm just kidding.
Eli Craig hasn't had a movie that's had as much success. I think that he has his fans for sure.
Yeah.
But Tucker and Dale really was kind of his smash hit, and it played at Sundance, and I always have a soft spot for films that kind of have their start in that area. Cabin in the Woods played at South by Southwest, and what was it, the Butt-a-thon?
The Numb Butt-a-thon? Butt Numb-a-thon?
Whatever it was, yeah. But, it was a studio movie with big names. It was always going to, get some sort of release in theaters. The Hillbilly Heroes are the underdogs, and they're going to take a full house tonight because we're both going to be seeing it together.
This house is not divided. Yeehaw. Praise God.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed our first episode of the October horror theme for Hard Ticket. I guess we can call it Hard Spooked.
Yep. You got it.
You got to help me out here.
Ooh, Hard Ticket.
You can follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Hard Ticket Pod, all lowercase, all one word. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Jeff Blogus, all lowercase, all one word. Tristan, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Letterboxd at Tristan Less. No, god damn it, I did the same thing that I did last week. Tristan M. Period. And you can follow me on Instagram at Tristan_Less. Probably like 3 underscores.
Yeah, well, you'll find him. You can't miss him. He's there. Thank you, Jared Tadlock, for designing our brand elements, keeping our podcast looking fresh. Thank you, Aaron Griffin, for mixing and mastering our theme song, sung by yours truly in a truly awful falsetto. We're going to continue with the spooks next week by covering... we're going into the gore genre a little bit, which is not either of our forte, so we're going to bring on a guest. We will announce when he's here with us, but we'll be watching Hostel and House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes.
So
it's Gorer next week.
God, yeah, a little Eli Roth versus Rob Zombie.
Yeah,
Oh,
two
geez.
titans.
Yeah, two names, that's for sure. So you don't want to miss that. Until then, keep listening, keep following us, and we will see you at the movies.
Boom! I just came up with that.